Hi, I'm Danielle. Welcome to my perfume journal. This is the June installment of my series called Perfume Collecting for Regular People, where I kind of pull back the curtain and very transparently share the ins and outs of my perfume collecting each month, including my budget and my spending down to the penny. I started this series to kind of normalize being a budget-conscious perfume collector and enthusiast in cyberspace and throw my little voice into the ring in the hopes that what I was sharing might resonate with other people in some way. So let's take a look at what I added to my collection during the month of June. So June was a very, very busy month for my little perfume collection. I had a lot of things coming in and a lot of things going out. And that is always part of the fun for me in being a perfume enthusiast. So I'm going to start out with my most successful blind buy this month. And that perfume was Covet from Sarah Jessica Parker. So I don't know if this happens to you, but every once in a while, it seems like a perfume will pop up in the collective fragcom consciousness. And I feel like I was seeing Covet on a lot of my favorite perfume channels. So I was like, okay, I'm an SJP fan. Let's see what Covet is all about. So what it is all about is really weird and really wonderful. You see this olive green and purplish brown color scheme of the bottle? That is basically how this perfume smells. Get a load of some of these notes. Lavender, dark chocolate, lemon, honeysuckle, teakwood, vetiver. And if you are sitting there scratching your head in wonder, keep scratching, because however you think this perfume will smell, it will smell exactly like that and completely different at the same time. Like nothing about this combination of notes suggests that this perfume will smell good, but I think it smells amazing. Do you remember the series on television called The Magic School Bus? So the best way I can describe this perfume is that I think this is what the teacher, Miss Frizzle, would smell like. A little bit sweet, a little bit sassy, a little bit weird, but also smart and grounded. And I absolutely love this perfume, and I am so glad I was influenced into buying it. So I did have a few womp womps this month. And unfortunately, two of them were Sarah Jessica Parker perfumes. So let's start out with the original NYC. I was super excited about this one. I thought, ooh, the bottle is so much fun. The perfumer is Honorine Blanc, and the notes sounded super fab. Orange, strawberry, gardenia, honeysuckle, osmanthus, magnolia, mimosa, sandalwood. This sounded like it was going to be like the fruity floral perfume of my dreams. But something had to come along and like ruin it for me, and that was the boozy note. So the boozy note in this perfume is listed as rum, and it does make this perfume smell like a really sweet, fruity cocktail. And the booziness is just a little too pervasive for me. I am someone who kind of struggles with boozy notes. And I suppose there had to come a time when a Sarah Jessica Parker perfume would not work out for me. And unfortunately, NYC was the perfume, and this was the time. But I could see how someone who loves a fruity cocktail kind of perfume would really enjoy this. It just wasn't for me. And the second SJP perfume that did not work out for me was the NYC Flanker NYC Crush. So NYC Crush seemed like it would be another dreamy perfume for me, this time a tropical one, with this simple profile of coconut, white florals, and vanilla. And here is what I have learned. I need to stop smelling certain expensive perfumes, because when I find a good one, and I mean a really, really good one, I can't unsmell the goodness. So in previous videos, I have talked about Le Grand Jeu from Voyage Imaginaire, the perfume line by Isabelle Doyen and Camille Goutal. If you know and love Goutal perfumes, you know Isabelle Doyen as the partner perfumer of Annick Goutal in the original Goutal line. And then after Annick Goutal passed, Isabelle Doyen was the primary perfumer for the brand. Goutal perfumes are beautiful, classic French perfumery. I have not been lucky enough to smell any of them in their original form, but I am so fond of so many of them in their current formulation that I can just like only imagine how good the originals were. So anyway, Isabelle Doyen and Camille, Anique's daughter, partnered up to create this line, Voyage Imaginaire, and every single perfume in the line is, I think, exquisite, especially Le Grand Jeu. It is the exact same scent profile as NYC Crush. It's coconut, gardenia, tuberose, and vanilla. So I was sort of hoping beyond hope that NYC Crush would be like the affordable gem version of Le Grand Jeu, but alas, it is not that. It smelled very thin and kind of synthetic, not even in comparison to Le Grand Jeu. So like, even if I hadn't smelled Le Grand Jeu, I don't think Crush would have been for me. And I feel like kind of a downer saying that because I really do love Sarah Jessica Parker perfumes so much, but I just have to be honest about what I'm smelling and what I like and what I don't like. So unfortunately, this one just didn't work out for me. And while we're on the subject of perfumes that didn't work out for me, let me introduce you to Lin Blanc from Jeanne and Provence. So again, the accords suggested that I would love this. It's that floral, fresh, creamy scent profile that I totally love. The kind of scent profile I get in A Drop d'Issey from Issey Miyake, from Lovely Lights by Sarah Jessica Parker, and from My Pearls by Merchant of Venice. And then I also have a bottle of Neroli Intense from Jeanne and Provence, which is one of the best Neroli perfumes I've ever smelled. And I think I paid like under $20 for it. So I was really certain that Lin Blanc was going to be a winner. It was not a winner. It should have been a winner. It has pear and cotton and lavender and iris and vanilla, but it smelled horrible on me. And I want to stress the words on me. And I think it must be the musk that they use. It has this weird scratchy quality to it that actually made me feel quite ill. And I'm thinking I will give this one a go as like a room spray or a linen spray to see if it smells a little bit better, just like in the air or on fabric. But as a perfume, I am going to wave goodbye to Lin Blanc. And I am also going to wave goodbye to Musc Blanc and Lin from, forgive me if I mispronounce this, Berdoues. This is another one that sounded great, but just didn't deliver. Now with this one, I'm not going to be able to mince words. This smelled horrible on me. It smelled so horrible on me. The musk was so overpowering. I could like barely breathe when I sprayed this on. And I might be extremely sensitive to whatever kind of musk was in this, and similarly in Lin Blanc, or maybe it's the cotton flower, or it could be a combination of the musk and the cotton flower together. But I found it extremely oppressive and almost suffocating. So I will never say that a perfume is empirically bad, because I really truly believe that perfume is subjective and that beauty is in the nose of the beholder. But what I can say pretty emphatically is when a perfume smells bad on me. And this is a perfume that just smelled terrible on me. It could work out great for someone else, but on me, this was a major flop. Okay, things are about to pick up in this month's collection because we've gotten all of the womp womps out of the way. And here we have a humongo bottle of sparkling white diamonds from Elizabeth Taylor. So over the years, I have smelled a lot of Elizabeth Taylor perfumes, but I have never smelled this one. I think I grabbed this one to get my shopping cart up to the free shipping on one of my orders. The perfumes in the Elizabeth Taylor line are super duper inexpensive. And like, even if you don't enjoy them, I feel like they're icons in the perfume world and should at least be smelled. Kind of like how I make my husband go to modern art museums when we travel to see works by iconic artists, even though he thinks modern art is trash. But I feel like you still have to experience it. Anyway, Sparkling White Diamonds. It is very much white diamonds. It is that heady, indolic, super duper aldehydic, vintagey floral profile with a musky, woody base. But this is a really sparkly, bubbly version of white diamonds. It is less yellow smelling and more like Swarovski crystal smelling. There's an absence of that heavy patchouli and the spicier florals in this one, which I think gives it a lighter, brighter profile. This is not a perfume that I could see myself reaching for often, but I think it's one of those perfumes that when I just get in the mood for it from time to time, I really want to have it on hand. So this perfume is Hugo Boss Woman. I threw this bottle of Hugo Boss Woman in the cart because I was just kind of intrigued by this perfume from the early 2000s, which was a great time for perfumery. I thought it sounded great. It's mango, freesia, violet root, and then a woody base. So a nice, fresh, simple woody floral. And I have to say, I have not really worn this enough yet to give you the full perfume journal treatment of this. But for now, this is sitting squarely in the nice, easy reach perfume category for me. Next up is another humongo bottle. This is Eau Plurielle from Diptyque. And this is from their line of multi-purpose fragrances, which means you can use this as a perfume, you can use it as room spray, you can use it as linen spray, whatever you want. This is a very, very green rose. It takes on that sort of traditional rose geranium kind of profile, but instead of geranium, it is ivy for an even greener feel. And with the spicy Turkish rose, this is just very, very rosy, green, and fresh. I can see spritzing this around the house in the spring and opening up all the windows and letting that rose and ivy scent just kind of billow all around. Or I would love to wash my sheets and then hang them outside to dry. But while they're damp, spray them down liberally with this as they are drying outdoors. I bet that would smell absolutely amazing. So Eau Plurielle was one of my swaps with my friend Allie this month, and I could not be happier that she was willing to pass this one along to me in a trade. So the next 3 bottles I added to my collection this month are all re-ups. So I'm not going to ramble on and on about this one like I have been for the last 2 months. This is a fresh bottle of Embrace French Lavender and Tuberose from Vera Wang. This also came into my collection in a swap with Allie, and just in time as I emptied the bottle that Cass gave me in April. So this is Mandarin, Tuberose, Lavender, Cocoa, and Vanilla. It is simple, creamy, fresh, and beautiful. I also re-upped a nice big bottle of Lovely by Sarah Jessica Parker, one of my favorite floral perfumes of all time. So Lovely is fresh and clean from the lavender and apple. It is beautifully floral from that narcissus and fantasy orchid note. And then it just has a really classy, musky, woody base. It is the perfume version of a classic pressed white collared shirt. Whenever I wear this, I feel like I have my stuff together, even if I actually don't that day. And I re-upped on a perfume that I wore ages and ages ago. This is Pure from Alfred Sung. So in the late 80s, I wore the original Sung, which is a very, very loud, spicy, sweet floral perfume. And then in the late 90s, Alfred Sung came out with Pure, and it could not be more different from the original Alfred Sung. So Pure was created by James Krivda, who, fun fact, is the nose behind the iconic Fantasy from Britney Spears. And I love perfumers who have smaller bodies of work, but they have some real legends under their belt. People like Bernard Chant, who his library of work is not super vast, but it is icon after icon after icon. It's Halston, Cabochard, Aromatics Elixir, Aramis, beautiful, and Lauren. There's others in his library, but like to me, those are the classic legendary perfumes. And I think James Krivda falls into that category as well. Pure is very much a 90s perfume. It's a fresh, clean, soapy floral with a musky, woody base. It's got a nice, bright, citrusy top. It's got peony in the mid. That's mostly what I get as the main floral note. And then it's got some white musks and that soft, woody base. It smells a lot fresher and cleaner than the notes would suggest. And I think it's very well named as Pure. It doesn't smell like ivory soap, but it sort of reminds me of ivory soap. It smells just as good as I remember it back in the late 90s when I wore it. The current formulation of this is absolutely fine, and I'm super happy to have this back in my collection. So now the 3 best things I added to my collection this month to round out June. First is this mini vintage obsession that Allie gave me when we got together to sniff and swap. I did not even need to spray this one to tell it was a vintage formulation. I can't be sure of the exact year, but I pulled off the cap and it was immediately recognizable to me as the original formulation. I was so stoked that she gifted this to me. So I just want to say a big, huge thank you to Allie for this treasure. I love it. And I talked about this perfume and the next one in a lot more detail in my last video because they were 2 of my most worn perfumes this month. So I'll be sure to link that video down below if you're interested. So this is a drop Diptyque from Issey Miyake. This is my favorite lilac forward perfume in my favorite scent profile, a clean and creamy floral perfume. Broken record time. This smells exactly like a lilac blossom. Let's give her a name. Let's call her Blanche. And this is Blanche, the lilac blossom, who, after luxuriating in her bubble bath, gets out and she Niveas herself from head to toe, or maybe I should say from bud to stem. And then she wraps herself up in a big, fluffy white robe before tucking in for the night. Blanche, you smell great. And finally, the supermoon grapefruit perfume of my dreams, Pamplelune from Guerlain's Aqua Allegoria line. This is a very crisp and tart rind that settles down into a bowl of sweet, juicy, pulpy, ruby red grapefruit wedges with just a touch of vanilla in the base. It is gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous. And one of those perfumes you cannot stop smelling on yourself when you wear it. And I know that people like to hear what I've decluttered each month, so I will give you a rundown of all of the bottles I've decluttered. I decluttered a lot of other stuff like samples, body mists, travel sizes, and such, but I will stick to the bottles so this video doesn't turn out to be like 5 days long. Okay, first off, I swapped 2 bottles with Allie this month. I swapped Eau Emotionelle from Agent Provocateur, which is discontinued. It's kind of hard to find, but I wasn't really reaching for it that much. I have the original Agent Provocateur, and my favorite from the brand is really Maîtresse. So I felt like I could part with Eau Emotionelle. So Agent Provocateur perfumes are excellent. This was a lingerie shop, kind of like Victoria's Secret, and they created all of these very like boudoir-ish scents that are all discontinued now, but you can still find a few of them like floating around on the gray market. Eau Emotionelle is a lighter version of the original Agent Provocateur. It's a very soapy but also spicy floral. It's mostly rose with a great musky base. I also swapped my bottle of Divine Vanille from Essential Parfums with her. I love this perfume. It is a very woody tobacco vanilla kind of scent, just gorgeous and delicious, by the late Olivier Pechot. And I'm sure you're like, if you love it so much, why did you get rid of it? And I think it's because I feel like I just wore it enough and I was ready to move it along to a new home. And I'm really glad that it went to Allie because I know her taste a little bit better now and I think she'll really enjoy this one. I also said goodbye to a couple of Snif perfumes. I got rid of Sweet Ash, which smells a lot to me like Baccarat Rouge 540. It's that cotton candy and Ambroxan combination that you find in perfumes like Baccarat Rouge and Cloud from Ariana Grande. Just kind of not working for me, so I passed that one along. And I also moved along Tart Deco, which I really liked at first. It smells exactly like a cherry lip smacker, but I think cherry was sort of like a fleeting moment for me, and I'm not really feeling the cherry vibe anymore, so wanted that one to go to a home that would appreciate it and enjoy it much more. And finally, I moved along Somebody Would from Phlur, which is kind of a sweet woody perfume. I mostly get sandalwood and cedar in this. Again, this was a perfume I enjoyed while I had it, but I feel like I sort of wore it enough. And when I get like a little tired of wearing a perfume, I know it's time to move them along to someone who will enjoy them much more. And so that is what I decluttered in the month of June. All right, so it is brass tacks time. What did I spend this month? So every month I have shared in this series that my fun money perfume budget is $100 to $150 per month. And as always, I recognize what a significant privilege it is to have any fun money to spend at all. That was not always the case for me, and it is not the case for many people. And so I am very grateful to have the extra money on hand to enjoy a hobby at all, let alone a hobby like perfume. So I started out June with a balance of $223.88 in what I call my perfume piggy bank, which was a nice, healthy start to the month. I spent a total of $252.53 this month on perfumes. It is the second month of the year in which I went over my budget. This time I went over my budget by $152.53. However, I did bring in $216.55, leaving me with a final balance of $187.90 in my perfume piggy bank at the end of June. So even though I did go over my budget in spending, I am still ahead for the year so far. I have also been thinking a little bit about increasing my budget for the remainder of 2025, but I have not decided yet. Maybe I'm going to wait until the new year. Either way, I am really happy with all of my perfume additions for this year so far. I feel like my collection continues to be a reflection of who I am. And I'm also extremely happy that after 40 plus years of perfume collecting, I am still enjoying this interest with as much passion and enthusiasm as ever. And that's what really matters to me. So there we have it, the ins, the outs, the dollars, the cents of my regular person perfume budget and my collecting for the month of June. I hope you enjoyed this video. I love making these every month. I really appreciate you taking your time to watch my videos and most of all to chat perfumes with me in the comments. I hope you have a really great day and I will see you in the next video. Bye.